Hey everyone, we are going to review this Harvey Big Eye Rip Fence System. I mentioned in a previous video when I did the unboxing and installation of this fence that I was going to try to do a review once I got some time on it. I've had it for I guess a couple 3 months now, and I've used it quite a bit in those few months. So let's just dive right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is probably the most common thing between this one and the previous fence system, the high-low fence. You can see here this has a high area where you can do larger boards, thicker boards or whatever, and what I use pretty much all the time. I never use the low part, but you can adjust these knobs here loose and then slide this fence just like the other one out and then put it on the low setting where you've got here like about a half-inch lip if you need to have a lower fence setting. So that's pretty much the same as it was on the previous Harvey setup. No different other than the knobs are actually look a little sturdier and a little better, honestly. So with the high-low fence, you have a tape that moves on this instead of having two different sight glasses to have to look through. So you don't have to actually worry about those getting out of whack or not being able to see through those. So here you can see you have a high side that has a couple of little set screws here, and you simply move this tape with your finger over to the other side, which is set up for the low fence. And you have to dial both of these in by putting your fence up against the blade, of course, on both the high and the low fence setting. Once you have your tape lined up and zeroed, it's nothing more than sliding that tape over and you're looking through the same sight glass every time. And you even also have one on the left side if you're somebody who occasionally rips large sheet goods and puts your fence on the other side. The high-low side is also interchangeable. You just have to pull the screws out and move the fence around. And simply slide it back to the high side and you're good to go. It is that simple. So speaking of tape, the next thing we're going to talk about is this sight glass that you look through now to see your markings and your measurements. This is absolutely wonderful. I love this. It is crystal clear, and actually it's made out of crystal. So it is very clear. Of course, it does get dust on it, but you just simply wipe it off. You can look right here and you can see well through this. You can see every little mark on this without having to squint.
Just squint. I squint.
As we get a little older, kind of have to squint. Sometimes I still have to anyway. But you can see very well through this. It's not like the other one. And there's also, again, there is one of these sight glasses on both sides for whenever if you do have to cut on the left side of your blade. Really do love that feature. Probably one of my favorite features for a couple of reasons is this actual locking mechanism. So a couple of reasons for this. Number one of the biggest issues that people have with table saws, I know that I had with the other fence system, is once it's locked down, number one, sometimes when you lock it down, if you don't have it tight enough up on the front rail, it'll move just a little bit. Well, with this system, it solves that problem as well as another problem. And when you get through the cut and you're on the back side, sometimes if you're pushing a little too hard up against your fence, you actually cause a slight deflection at the end of the cut. Well, Harvey has developed this locking system now to where when you lock it down, it locks down on both the rear and the front as well, so you have 2 points of contact. This fence does not move, as you can see here. I love that. The other thing I love about it, guys, you know as well as I do, on most all table saws, exactly where that locking knob is, and it could cause problems if you're not paying attention. Well, Harvey has eliminated that. You have a lever here, and this lever simply pushes forward. It is out of your way. You don't have that protruding either in the locked or unlocked position. So you're safe to walk around your table saw.
Our boys are safe and secure for the day.
Whoa. All right, so those are absolutely some of the best things that I do like about this. I'm not going to go over the installation or anything like that. I did that in the other video as far as how to set it up and all that. Really just want to talk about how it performed making all the different cuts that I make. I'm not going to make this a super long video. I just want you to get the gist of it if you're on the fence whether or not you want to buy this fence.
I see what you did there. Puns. Or
stay with the original fence. So a couple of things. One, you have this rail system here. It holds basically any of your T-Track. I say any. The ones I have like the Rockler and the PowerTech hold down, so you can put screws on here, so you can attach equipment as such on that little rail. They will slide into here. And speaking of this rail, there was one thing Harvey told me when I reached out to them and asked about my JessM stock guides, and that was that I would not be able to use them because they would not fit in this rail system. So you remember when I told you that this fit the Rockler and the PowerTech little bolts, T-Track bolts? Well, guess what? I just took me a piece of 1/2-inch hardwood. This is actually European walnut, and got it down to a 1/2 inch. You got to make sure if you do this that it is a 1/2 inch or less, because where it sits up there for me, it wouldn't allow that to actually close. So I just slide it in here, line these up, and for me it's easy because I leave this in here. I don't ever pull it out, and I just make sure up here that I've got room for this to close right here and lock down, and it does, and I simply just lock it down right there. And I'm good to go. And now I have my JessM stock guides, and all I have to do is keep them here when I'm not using them, move them out, put them down, and we're good to go. But here's one thing I don't care for. I mentioned it in my installation video, but the fine adjustment. If you look right here, you can see clearly that this is nothing more than a rubber ring around something here, some kind of round device, but anyway, a rubber ring, and as you can see, it absolutely slips. If you're not careful, it will absolutely slip as you move it. Not really happy with that. If you look in these pictures here from the advertisements from Harvey, this to me looked like some kind of rack and pinion device for the fine adjustment. That's honestly what I thought I was getting. And I was a little disappointed to find that it is nothing more than a piece of rubber basically riding on this rail. I don't know if that was intentional. They originally went that direction with it and then changed it for whatever reason. I'm not really sure. So Harvey, if you do see this, I'd love to know, and I'd love to know if you're planning on coming out with that rack and pinion type style knob on this. So, but honestly, overall, I mean, that's my only complaint. This fence system is great. Would I pay for the price for it again? If you're unaware, this comes in at the time that I purchased this, and I pre-ordered mine. It was right at $1,100 for the fence system. It's the rails, the fence, and everything. So super easy to install, as you saw if you would just check out that other video. But yeah, I think the price point's pretty close. I would like to see it, under $1,000. I think you could probably convince more people to move to it if you could keep it under $1,000. So one big thing I do love about this, because I actually make a lot of repeatable cuts, and these flip stops here are absolutely wonderful. You simply set them to where you want, and if you make repeatable cuts all the time, flip them down, and as you slide this over, it will bump the stop, and you can go back to that measurement every single time. When you're done, simply flip it up, and the saw slides right over top of them with no issues whatsoever. I think that is a very good thing for those of us who make repeatable cuts on certain things, just to set it up and leave it and you're done. Saves you a little time. Okay everyone, that was the short and sweet of it. Just wanted to do a quick review, so if you were on the fence whether or not you wanted to get this, hopefully this gave you some value, hopefully it helped you out. For those of you that are still here, I really appreciate it. I just wanted to let you know we now have our channel membership open. It is new. We've got a few members over there hanging out. We do some pretty cool stuff now, and there's definitely more to come in the future. We're doing some behind the scenes, of course. We're doing some, going to be doing some giveaways. You get first release or first view on my new videos when they come out. So it's kind of pretty cool. I got a few different tiers over there, and I've got more stuff I'm going to be adding. So if you're interested, click the little join down below. But even if you're not, I'd appreciate it if you click the subscribe button and the like button, and hey, come back and check out some more of the videos. That's all I got for today. See you guys in the next video.